Hey, what's up? Sup, Fireland? Yeah. The hardest character to draw in my life. Single character? Mm, hmm. Hmm. Hardest character I've ever drawn. It's a good question. I don't know if I have an answer. I don't find a lot of these things hard. Um, it's hard sometimes to get approvals for characters. Like if I'm being, when I'm working with the studio, you know? So that can be challenging. Um, I think the more, I don't know if hard is quite the word, but you can get intimidated when you're putting your own version of something out there. You run the risk of people saying that's not the fucking version that I know and love, you know? So to that end, I would say that I would say probably the Game Informer piece was tough because like I got a lot of scrutiny from fans over that. You know, I got a lot of love and I got a lot of hate from doing my own versions of characters that aren't intrinsically, you know. So, like when I did my version of the Odin Sphere chick and Cloud is smiling, I get a lot of shit from that. And the Horizon Zero Dawn, people said I made her look Cro-Magnon and shit like that. So like that's intimidating because you know you're just opening yourself up to. In terms of just a character that's complicated, lots of details don't affect me. Like that's the one thing I've always been able to do fairly well. I mean, there's stuff that I just don't like looking at because I did it so long ago. I'm just digging through stuff here. Let me see, is there anything in here that was really fucking hard? Not hard to draw. Coloring and painting can get difficult, but drawing, I always feel like I come to something when it's time for me, or I have enough of the skill sets to do it, you know? Hmm. I think like this was a hard one when I first did it because of the amount of characters and it had to get approved. Like this Ratchet, I had to redraw his face 7 times before my editor in chief would approve of it. And even then, I spent so much time drawing that this was supposed to be double the size. This is 2009. This was supposed to be twice the size, but I ran out of time because I had to color it too, and I had no idea. Like when I colored this, I didn't use lasso tools. This is all drawing shadows and airbrushing. I didn't really even know how to use a lasso tool to color, so that was really fucking tough. Yeah. But we've come a long way here at Sketchcraft. Come a long fargin' way. Yeah. From this ugly nonsense. I've drawn things poorly. Didn't mean it was hard. Just means I drew them poorly. Uh, this was hard. Not the character, but this whole background is not traced over anything. It's hand drawn digitally, and it all had to be layered because you flipped the page over and saw the other side, and it was all in 3D. So I had to flip it back and forth. So that was tough. This is 2009, man. It was like 10 years ago. I don't know. I don't really find any of these characters difficult. They eat up time. What I would say is drawing super clean. The question is how much do I really want to spend a ton of time? So at this point, like from moving forward from this piece, after this piece, I'm going to keep this consistent with this. But I will say I'm not in the mood to spend 20 hours drawing line arts anymore. So what I will be doing is going into something more like this for my pieces, where it's going to be more looser with the lines, and I'll tie it all together with color. So just to ease my how much time I'm spending on these, with the can people really fucking tell the difference quotient, you know? So yeah, I'd rather spend a ton of time on something for when I'm doing the Sonic color pencils and stuff, you know? It's that way people can see the effort. So there's that. This was tough because this had to get approved. Every one of these characters had to get approved by the Japanese, and it took a year to get this approved. So that was tough from that standpoint, but not tough to draw, tough to get approval. This was challenging to draw, this piece. And this is what I'm talking about. Like, it doesn't have to be so perfectly clean. I could have done this rough, you know? So, yeah, there's that. But in terms of like, are things difficult because it, you know, I have to draw a lot of things? Not really. It's drawing them clean that just eat up the time. A lot of time. It took me a long time to learn how to draw women with pretty faces. It took me a long amount of years. I tend to draw more aggressive. So, like, to draw this face, you know, to be able to draw a face like that and not stress about it took a long time, years. But it's not like that individual character was hard to do. It's just getting to the point where I could do that. For me, it was hard to do. That was tough. Who are you hired by? Right now, my only side gig, I'm freelance. So right now, the only side gig I'm doing is for Toys for Bob. So I just got done working on the Spyro game that's coming out. Thank you. Other than that, I make up my own stuff, and I got a retro gaming magazine that I'm doing the art direction on over at Megavisions. So, and then I got my own comics that I'm working on right now too. And this stuff is for a Kickstarter that I did. I'm just trying to wrap up. So everyone got to vote on what they wanted me to draw. So. Yo,
Hello, everybody.
what's going on?
Not much. On the thing you asked me to make, I got everything done except for the side view, which I can't find a image for. So tonight, after you're done, if you could help me with that, I can get that all done for you.
Yep, check eBay.
All right, I'll try that.
You can do that while we're chatting.
Yep, doing that now. Good idea. So, I'm curious. What did you say for your hardest character to draw in your life, Rob?
I was trying to tell him that there is no really hard character. You know, like I think putting my own spin on characters has been more difficult in terms of approvals and fan reaction. You know,
Right.
I mean, to an extent, maybe I went if I had to go like the critters piece. It was like it's not one; it's when there's 500 of them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then there's a committee. You know, like all one that
Right.
have a say in it. That's where I find. You know, I've had trouble coloring things. You know, or painting things, but in terms of drawing the characters, I mean, if someone didn't like my art in terms of me drawing it, then I just didn't get paid.
Right.
It's only happened a couple times. Usually when I was first starting out, I did some design work for this scuba gear company for some seals. They hated it. We're not paying for this shit. I'm like, okay. I've had some back and forth with clients over the last couple years in terms of drawing things in my own style. You know?
Yeah.
Like, why can't you do it like you used to do it? I'm like, don't hire me. I'm not worth it. There are more qualified and talented people. I'm not one of them. You're being unreasonable to work with. Yes. Yes. I'm being unreasonable. Exactly. You should not work with me. I'm unreasonable. Thank you. Unreasonable. You remember that when you're recommending people and you go, he's unreasonable.
Remember this face.
Yeah. This is the face of unreasonability.
Okay. Oh, man, that sickness doesn't want to leave me.
Nope. You down with the sickness?
And
You're down with the sickness.
I'm still so sick. I can't do the noise that I can't do it because I think I'll start coughing. How long are you gonna be working on this tonight?
About
I
another
forgot the time frame.
hour and 10 minutes or so till midnight.
Okay. Very nice.
We had a guy coming over to look at something today, so I couldn't do it during the day. So I wrote Game Cave cut. I'm like, the minute I come upstairs, he's gonna fucking you know, my dog's gonna
Yeah.
bark
Oh
at it and
yeah.
stuff. And I sit there and it was like, it's gonna be 4 o'clock, and she's like, she said he'd be before 4. So I waited till 4, nothing. I'm like, screw it, I'll go upstairs. And right when I'm halfway up the stairs, ding dong. I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Just about right.
Never fails, you know.
All right. We'll be there anytime between noon and never.
Yeah.
So just keep a lookout for us.
Okay.
Hey, Kong's in the chat room.
Yeah.
I was just looking, just playing catch up.
You like how your boy is out as Superman?
I like how every time you want to talk about any character in ever, it's always or person, it's my boy.
When it comes to the DCU, that's your jam, dude.
I guess. I mean,
You're the one with the DCU tattoos.
I like Ben Affleck. He's been
And he's out too.
Yeah, I'm not a Superman fan. I like Henry Cavill as Superman. I thought he was a good fit, but
Well, it's over
I don't
now,
like
isn't it?
Superman. Yeah, it's fine by me. I'm more
They were
bummed about the
saying that
Batman thing.
WB was eyeing Michael B. Jordan. Then like, you can't have a black Superman. I'm like, yeah, you can.
Yeah, you could have anybody.
You may not like it, but I mean, like, if
Right.
anything, if there was a reason to say, hey, maybe Superman can be black, I'd buy it just because, you know, they're gonna hate him whether they know he's an alien or not, right? Like in
Right.
America, I'm like, there's a bulletproof dude. I mean, it works in Luke Cage when he's bulletproof. I'm like, there you go.
Right.
But it's gonna definitely piss off the comics guys, that's for certain. He was super fucking likable in Chronicle. I don't think he's played a
Oh
role
yeah,
quite like that since, you know. So
he's a
it's,
great actor. So
yeah. I mean, when I first went to Chronicle, I was like, who that kid that fucking played that dude, the super popular guy, man, Michael B. Jordan. Oh, Michael Jordan. I was like, hey, he was like the best thing out of that film.
yeah, he'd be. I mean, because there's the I might see if I can remember this right because I read it for a bit. The Earth 2 Superman who was black. His name was Val Zod. I think that's what his name was. It's been a while since I read it. And he had a super cool costume. It was like this white with blue. And he was younger. And I was like, yeah, this is cool. I like this. All right. Something different. But most movie going viewers will be all pissed. It's like when they wanted to make, what's his name? Idris Elba as James Bond or whatever. Like, it's a fictional character. You can make them however you want. You can make them straight, gay. Who cares? You can do whatever you want. They relaunch the characters every year anyways. What do you care? We got a Joker movie coming out that nobody asked for with a random older guy playing an origin of the last guy who was younger.
I know Campy is always, it's sort of a separate note, but Campy is always saying things like, because you know when they say, why don't you make a Batman TV show? And he's like, no, you got to have the TV and the separate because it'll confuse audiences and it's not good. He didn't like when they put Superman and Supergirl and, you know, it confuses. But then when they announced the fucking Joker movie, he's like, Elseworld movies will be great. You just explain it to the audience. I'm like, yes, so the fucking TV shows can happen too, right? Like, right? Like,
Yeah.
Methinks the logic doesn't quite work out here.
I made the real quick. I made the controller, the Saturn controller, the regular one. Did you want that giant orb like one, or are you cool with the regular one?
I want both.
All right, then I gotta make the orb one. All right, that's fine.
The known as the Knights controller.
I won't have it done tonight.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, but yeah, I'll do it for you.
And you're looking at the other one and making sure they all line up in terms of details and
Yes.
bits, right? It should
Yep.
be
100%.
indistinguishable. Should look like they came from
Yep.
the same, right? Not taking
Yep.
shortcuts.
Nope.
All right.
I made it a point to.
I'm gonna be very picky on
I know.
this.
I was talking to Jessica about this before she just went to bed. Sorry, my voice. She just went to bed, and I said, "Listen," I was like, "double check this so I know I'm doing." I was like, "Look at the Sega Dreamcast chords," and I'm like, "Now look at the Sega Saturn chords." I'm like, "The difference is the plug-in on this part, but the other part of the chords are identical." I was like, "So check my stuff," and
Like
she's
with
like,
the
"Yep,
little
you did it right."
schematics and crosshairs and bits and
Yeah,
stuff that you're putting on there, right?
yeah.
You're not half-assing it, right?
No,
It's not a cat. I'm giving you the opportunity to fix it before I look at it. You know.
no,
So
I know.
if you're shorthanded shit, you better not.
No, the only part that I couldn't find was like I did an overhead view and I did all the buttons, all the cutouts, all the dots, everything. The only thing I couldn't find was like the where's it at? Give me 1 second here. I wasn't prepared to be quizzed. The let's see. No, like the Sega Genesis where I did the upside down thing where it had all the tiny little cutouts and stuff, but the top of the Saturn has all the normal cutouts, the buttons, the logo emblems, the dips, the dots in it. And the controllers have all the grooves and cutouts and everything. So, like I said, I'll let you look at it. And then if you want extras, I could always go in and add it. Man. So this is non-art related, but you know I'm a crafty person that could build things, you know. So I now, with my rotator cuff pain, it's now gone up into the side of my neck, right? And it's bugging the shit out of me today. And somebody, a physical therapist, was like, "Well, why don't you try one of those therapy massage guns? You ever seen these, Rob? Like athletes use them, where it's like a ball on basically like a drill, and it hits your skin repeatedly to break up some of the blood flow and also the knots and things like that. They use them on a lot of physical therapy stuff. Well, anyways, they're like $400 to $6 for a decent one, right? I built myself one today for $20. I am smart and I can build things. I basically took a jigsaw. Do you know what a jigsaw is? Not the character, but a jigsaw.
Yeah, okay. I know the jigsaw is.
So took out the safeguard. I got it at Walmart for $18. Took out the safeguard. Okay. Then I took one of the saws, grinded it down so it's flat, so there's no more ridges. I tack welded a screw onto that. Okay. So now it's one piece. And then I took a lacrosse ball, which is the same type of ball that you would spend $60 to $100 on from a therapeutic store, and then drilled a little hole into that, took that piece, connected it, put it all together, put it into the jigsaw, and I now have a massage therapeutic gun that works just as good as a $600 one. If anything, it can go faster speeds because it's got drill settings.
No, you should put up a YouTube video.
I took some pictures of it, just the whole process, because my bro was asking me about that. He's like, "Yeah, I heard you can make those." He's like, "I've just never seen it done or how to do it." And I was like, "Man, I figured that out on my lunch break today."
Yeah,
make
a YouTube video.
And no
right
one
on
wants
the
to
channel.
Watch. On the art channel.
No, I can make a separate channel.
Oh, okay.
We can put taters, useless tips, tater tips, tater tips, right. And it'll be one video. It'll be like it has 1 million fucking views. How does that happen? Like,
right. It was funny. I took a video of it using it on my dad's back in slow motion, and you could just see like the ripples when it hit your skin and the muscles go boo. I was like, yes. So hopefully that helps a bit. Fun times. So I'm not going to pay $400 to $600 for something I can make on my own, people. Now, if I could just make art on my own, I wouldn't have to spend all my money on art.
What money are you spending on art?
None, since you cut me off from shopsketchcraft.com.
That's right. Cut your ass off.
But that doesn't mean everyone on the stream can't go to shopsketchcraft.com and buy things for me.
When there's things up there.
Or for themselves.
I got my Avengers and Black Panther 3D Blu-rays today. So.
Oh, nice. The Age of Ultron or the first one?
Infinity War.
Oh, Infinity War. Okay. That's probably fun to watch. Or have you not watched it yet? You just get it today, you said?
No, yeah, we'll watch it on the weekends.
So I can
I
get there in
got
about 16 hours.
I got Homecoming in 3D as well, so we're gonna watch Homecoming, Black Panther, and then
Nice. Your weekend already sounds better than mine. Oh, he's coming to town tomorrow. And I decided to go get backyard taco with him. He drove out here, so
oh nice.
I might go eat with him tomorrow before I take Jessica to volleyball. Yeah, I was like, if you're coming down here, we're only going to one place. I was like, we're getting tacos. Because if I'm going out and I have to pay to eat, that's where I want to spend my money.
So you can build up a lot of detail fairly quickly, folks, if you use this little stroke method.
I like that when that method when you do the like Spider-Man pieces you used to do with the ropes, and it would make that nice clumpy look when you zigzag. Or if like you were doing like the Batgirl and she had her ropes and the shoelaces and stuff, you would use the stroke on that. Just looked really cool. Does his weapons have names too, or no?
I don't fucking know, bro. This one I'm making up. I wanted my own version of a site, and here to go with one that's from the game.
Gotcha. All right, and we have a side picture of the Sega Saturn. Only took a bunch of looks.
eBay?
Yeah, eBay.
There you go.
eBay. Working.
Art directors hate it when they're like, we need reference. I'm like, to eBay. And they're like, no, man, I don't want. I'm like, it's right there, high res, too. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, I see them fighting me on it, too, Guys, it's right there. Like in T-shirts, they go, we gotta go to Walmart, go see what the new shirts are. I'm like, let me just hit eBay up really quick. No,
Yeah.
man, oh, look, they're all right there. Like, here's every shirt that's at Walmart, right? No, we go down there, it's all the same shirts. And they go, we'll take the photos. I'm like, I already have them. They're right here on my phone. High res.
Yeah. I remember that one that when I was working with you, you're like, hey, let's go to Walmart. I'm like, what? You're like, yeah, we're going to Walmart. I'm like, all right. All of a sudden, you're just taking pictures. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, well, I figured out they're all on eBay because people buy the new ones and then put them in sets and resell them. So when he would tell us to go to Walmart, we'd go down there and look, but I already have them. We just fart around and go look at fucking other shit. Eat up like an hour, the same amount of time we
Oh,
used
yeah.
to. And I come back and just hand on the eBay photos. I was like, ah. Hey, my buddy I used to do that with now at an art director at another company. So he's like, if your work dries up, hit me up, dude. I got stuff for you. I'm like, all right, well, But he's not. He's cool, man, because he's like backed my projects before. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, he's one of me. You know what I mean? It's like my
All
own
right.
peer and shit. So it's like he's not pushing me to ever do work for him or nothing. So,
Nice.
yeah. He looks a little bit like the current model for Mario. You know how they kind of change his look for Odyssey?
Yeah.
He looks a little like Charlie Day now, Mario. And my buddy looks like that. So I'm like, hey, it's like dressing you up and taking you out on a sombrero and underwear. He's like, all right, dude. I'm like, no, check it out. Look. It's going on a fiesta with Aaron, It's like, oh, I miss talking to you. Yeah, I know, right? It's fun to be. I was like, why do you tell that to your friends? I'm like, so they don't talk to me for 3 months. That's how I can ensure I get a break.
I'm always here, but I got nowhere else to go.
You've got nowhere else to go.
Got nowhere else to go. What was me? You know where I can go, Rob?
Sketchcraft.com.
Shopsketchcraft.com.
You know where you can also go? You can go to fucking the YouTube channel and actually post some videos. Same with the DeviantArt. You know that's possible.
I started to today. If you look,
Oh, you just started to today. That's a very big coincidence.
You haven't posted any videos.
There's 2 in there right now.
Yeah, and those
and
are
there's
from the
backlog
last 2
videos
days.
too.
Those are from the last 2 days.
And they should be up. What did I say? New videos go up immediately.
Right, but you posted the other ones, and you know what? I was sick and dying.
Oh, now it's because you were sick and dying.
That's right.
Always a fucking. Oh yeah, not so sick you can't make plans to go to a backyard taco.
No.
Or read all the internet news about Henry Cavill not being Superman.
That's on.
Okay, all right.
That's Instagram. That's different.
Priorities.
Big time priorities.
Interesting.
I've been busy.
Oh, I believe that.
I've worked all day and night. I'm a working man.
That's so sick you can't build jigsaw guns.
I did that at work. I got paid for it. It was nice. The key is to act like you need their help, and then they get real interested. Oh yeah, I'll help you with that. Let's do that.
That's how I get you to do so much.
Exactly. I love it so much. Man, I can buy a Sega Saturn pretty cheap. I don't want one, but I could. Ow, 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 ow. If I was to buy any old system, it might be a Dreamcast.
It's worth it. You can still play the 2K games.
Yep, that's why.
I'm surprised people don't make mods where they just, for the Dreamcast, so you can just update the stats and player logos for NFL 2K.
I wish you could. I mean,
I would
in a heartbeat.
Just mod it so you can just, let's just
in a
fix it up ourselves. Maybe now that I said it, the universe will find a way.
Right.
What am I drawing with like a mouse? I don't understand.
He's asking about like what you're using a pen tool on a Cintiq. So explain that.
Yeah, it's a pen tool. Like it's like I draw on the monitor, like an Apple Pencil, right? Only on a computer.
And you have the Cintiq 21 UX or 22.
Yeah.
So if you Google that, if you Google a Wacom, WACOM.
Wacom.
Wacom. Actually, I'll just type it. Wacom 22 UX.
Yeah. It's the only one. It's no touch.
Right there. I typed it in the chat. So if you Google that right there, you'll see it. It's a very, very cool thing. I have one, but mine's like an old version. But it does the job. Yeah, no problem. And if you ever want to buy one, my recommendation, what I did was, if there's any art schools by you or art colleges, usually a lot of times they'll be selling them for cheap, or the teachers will get extra ones and then they'll sell theirs. And that's how I got mine. I drove out to LA, which is about 6 hours from me, because someone was selling one for like $1,000, and at the time it was like $2,000-$3,000 for one. So I got it super cheap from a professor, because he already got a free one from school, and then he already bought one. So, or they get extras, and they sell them off either at the end of the school year or before it even starts, before they get the new ones. So You can always find a good deal online. Or if you have something you can make on your own, do so. Can't make one of these, but yet someone will figure out. How long have you been using the
2008.
Wacom's?
I've been
Damn, 10
well,
years.
no, the Cintiqs since 2008. A
Okay.
Wacom itself, I bought my first. I first used a Wacom in 1993, 94 at Comic Con,
Holy shit.
and I was like, "Well, that's the future." So fuck the mouse, and so I wasn't able to afford one until 2001. I
Right.
paid George Bush. Was it no year 2000, 2001? I can't remember. I think it was 2000. They gave us a rebate right before 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone got like a $500 refund in the mail because we had a surplus in the budget, and those were the days. And I guess, and so I used mine. I wanted to make it count, so I bought my first Wacom for $500. And like an idiot, I
Nice.
bought one that was too big, and immediately regretted getting the largest one possible. I should have traded it in, but I dealt with it. And then I used the
thought you got. Oh, go ahead.
and then I
No,
used
go
the
ahead.
Cintiq in 2003. They were announced in 2003 and 2002, and I got to use one at the SIGGRAPH in 2003. And I thought it was amazing, but that it was a little too early. I said in 5 years there'll be like a version 2, and that'll be the one that I get because it was like $5,000 and it's kind of bulky and there was a little bit of lag, and they were like, "Oh, we're gonna fix all that stuff." So, and then when the Cintiq 2s came out that in 2008, that's when I hunkered down and bought the 20-inch. Because I had to be able to ink my own work anyway, and I'm like, I can't ink super clean traditionally, so I got it for that. And then when I hurt my arm, I just started learning how to do everything there.
Right.
I actually didn't draw physically for almost a year and a half until my my arm recuperated. It's carpal tunnel. And then in that year and a half, I gave myself a rotator cuff problem by leaning on my arm too much trying to. So I went from one hand to the other arm, and then I had to
Hmm.
But you thought I what?
I thought recently you got the 24 HD
No, I got the
one.
22. I don't like anything bigger than this, man.
Okay.
I don't even like this size. I wish I could get a 20 with
Because I
modern
kept thinking of
technology.
you talking about picking it up, lifting it past your table, or there would have been a problem, or there was.
No, I got a swivel arm.
That's right. Okay.
This is a pneumatic arm hooked up to my desk, so I can move it and swivel it around off my desk.
Right. Okay. Making art is expensive.
Yeah, so only spend the money when you have to. And in my case, I reached a point where I was working on projects that were going to pay for it.
Uh-huh.
So it was like, all right, this project will pay for this, and then this will allow me to do other things. What was happening was the industry was shifting away from 2 people or 3 people doing a job to 1 person. In some cases, it's going back to multiple people because people are realizing, hey, it's unreasonable to ask 1 person to do the job of 5 people, and there's no longevity. There's a quick gain and not really good for long term. What I've managed to do is find a way to do the job of 4 people without trying to make it look perfect.
Right.
As long as I'm not trying to make things look 100% clean, then yeah, I can get done. But that's only because it's so fucking difficult for so many years. Then I'm like, oh, I take my time, and I'm like, my shortcuts are like, oh, that's pretty normal, And I'm like, no, like this right here, what I'm doing now, I would have done another pass. back in the day and got it all super clean. Like, it's pointless, you know? And I never would have liked the stroke thing where I just blob in stuff. Never would have done that.
But now you can.
And I used to draw on, like, I mean, I have a lot of layers here, but when I'm drawing, it's really not that many layers. I'm just drawing on one layer, and if I need to put something opaque, like one of these stroke layers, and but otherwise I erase that right here if I wanted to. What I'll do is I set it down to 70%, and then I draw around 70 to 68% opacity. So when I erase, see it leaves a little bit, and then I can just clean it up. But you'll see me do a lot of that work, and just I could erase and then just clean up, and I just leave the little bits in there. It seems to like improve the art. Keeps it seems to make it better, in my opinion.
Right. All right. So when you're drawing all these details and you start zooming in and you get all close and stuff, do you ever lose track of the area you're on, have to zoom back out and kind of re-look at what you're...
No, all you got to do is go Window, Arrange, and New Window for whatever you're working on. And what it does is it makes a duplicate that's is synced up, so it's the same file. So you
Okay.
can just take that out of, put it on a separate monitor and look out, and you'll see yourself drawing
Oh,
like
nice.
on the same. Like if I go here, like watch what happens if I draw here, it will magically. Where am I? Here I am, right here. See, it magically appears there. Same
Gotcha.
file, but it's a duplicate window. So you can leave that over there.
Oh, nice. You've thought of it all, sir.
I didn't make the function. They made it. Hmm.
All right, now copy and paste this whole thing and just flip it to the other side and you're done.
No, because it's two different blades. It's also why I did one their design and one my own, so I didn't have to duplicate the same blade.
Gotcha. So let's say in this time period of you drawing this today that you spent, let's say 2 hours, 3 hours drawing, okay?
Mm-hmm.
How much of that 2-3 hours do you think you spend erasing and going back over?
I don't know. What does it matter how many times I erase it?
I'm just curious, like, because people are always like, Rob, you take forever, but it's like you're just, you're making sure you get the lines you like and the structure you like. So I'm just thinking, like, it's not so much like it takes you forever to draw things; it's just drawing things right take longer. Like, because anybody could finish a drawing quickly, but it's the
I'm not
details like
drawing.
this.
I'm also making up a lot of art. Like it's his armor, but
Right.
I'm also doing my own. So it's like, I think what people don't understand, dude, like a lot of the art they see on the internet, they're drawing from photos. If it's Overwatch, they're drawing from Overwatch photos. If it's Street Fighter, they're drawing from Street Fighter artwork half the fucking time.
Right.
Even from the big companies, So it's like, I'm part of this is character design. And there's a reason for it too, because it's gotten me work. You know? It's gotten me work. So if anyone complains about how long it takes me, I always say, well, you're welcome to come over here and figure out how to do it quicker. You know? I don't have the answers,
Yeah.
It's like, if you don't like it, don't buy it. Don't back me. I mean, it's going by quicker than it ever has, and just because of the techniques I've developed to help speed certain things along.
Yeah.
Like, I might be erasing, but I'm not cleaning things up. I'm just leaving them. You know what I mean? Like, it's mostly erasing it and then leaving bits in there. Before, I used to erase, turn the opacity out, clean it up, and so from that standpoint, I'm saving a ton of time. But I don't. When I come over here, I'm literally making this shit up as I go along. There's no reference. There's no plan. I'm just looking at it going, well, I guess it'll work like that. I guess it'll work like that. It's like I was writing Game Cave today. I'm going over like my workflow from a. So I had to work out a workflow for how I write things because one, so I can always look at it and go, that's how you fucking do it. So you're not. Sometimes I forget and like you're reinventing the same. You're refiguring shit you already figured out. So I've learned to make workflow flowcharts for how I do work when I know it's working. So I always have a way to start. And it starts with the thing I call a dev doc. And that's where I put down the name of the project, how many pages I'm thinking, and then I start writing out all the content. I'm going to need an intro. I'm going to need this many chapters. It's going to be like this kind of source book. I'm going to have this one. This is the page count. I kind of give myself a box that I want to fit the story in. And then within those things, I just creatively write out all the fucking things I want to be in the story. And then I reorganize those how I think it'll kind of work. And then what I do is build them out as a timeline. And then once I have that dev doc all worked out, I'm like, that's a good idea. I'm ready to move forward. I then move it into a structure document where I just cut out the story part and I start to arrange it based on story structure. And that's where a lot of the core work goes there. And when the story structure works out, so I know, every character has an arc, or the characters that need to have arcs, and it all works out, and it's bullet pointed, like very detailed. Then I take that, put it in a Rev 1 document, and I delete all the bullet points and arrange them into pages or paragraphs, and then write dialogue like it. But it's taken me like the last 3 years to develop that process. You know, it's not, none of it's just like there's always a process. You know,
Hmm.
and it doesn't involve like hope. Like I hope I'm good enough. Like no, I mean, look, I could have those processes and still suck. That's fine, but
Right.
in order for people to know it's bad, it has to get finished. You know, so I've been spending a lot of time just working on that and making my art more efficient. I didn't have these techniques when I started this project. Part of my freelance has been there just to. Part of my freelance has been uh, developing this stuff because time is money. What I do know is
Yes.
this: when people think I take too long, I just show what I'm working on to people that pay me, and they go, "I can't believe how long." And I tell them, they go, "That's fucking fast." So it's like people in development are like shocked at how little time it takes me, but people out in the real world think it takes forever.
Right.
You know. So that's why I stream all the stuff in real time, so I can show you here's how long it takes. And if you feel someone can do it faster, then give them your money. Chances are they're not doing it faster. They're just not doing what I'm doing, and you can't tell the difference.
Right.
I can't control that. Like a lot of, and this is something like I've gone through with you since we first met, was training you to see the difference of things, being
Hmm.
able to see, like, there's things I'm certain when we first met, you thought you were like, oh yeah, and then, you
Oh
know,
yeah. Oh yeah. It's to the point where it's so funny because now it's like seeing the Matrix code. I start seeing through the stuff that people are trying to trace over or do or copy or shortcuts, and I'm like, oh man, like really? I wish I would have. It's like when you point out why a movie is bad to somebody, which you've done to me millions of times. You're like, no,
I
no,
won't
don't
say
ruin
it's
it for
bad,
me.
but when the structure isn't there,
Right,
it
right,
drops a
right,
point. Look,
yeah,
and look, I've learned too. Sometimes it's just not that great an idea to begin with, and that's as far as that project can go. But it
right.
was getting made, and so it's my job to earn a living. So sometimes you got to make things that just aren't going to work out well, and you got to produce the best version of that as possible.
Mhm.
So there's that. But yeah, I mean, looking at things and knowing the difference, and being able to see how it was constructed or where you know, it's important to be able to see that stuff. Um, It's like this scribbly style I've been working on, you know. It's like some people are gonna be like, "Oh, that's awesome." Then they're gonna be like, "You ever gonna do anything super like?" Some people are gonna be like, "I thought were gonna draw this way, but you drew it that way." There's nothing I can do about it, guys. Like there are some things I'm unwilling to do anymore. When I started this
Mm-hmm.
project, I was willing to take on a 35 character piece that was gonna be super perfect, and now I'm like, nope. You know, like not doing it anymore. I'm gonna finish the piece of art, but it's gonna be done in a way that I think is fair to me and everyone else. You know.
All right.
So I feel no obligation to kill myself. I just spent 300 hours on one piece for a client, you know, because everything
Yeah.
had to be perfect. And I think you could admit, I mean, look, I think it looks like, okay, well, there you go. But from the people who've seen it, they tell me it's one of the best things I've ever drawn, you know. But
Yeah.
you want to comment on it without being able to say what it is, or you have anything to add to
I've
that?
tried. I was listening to you talk, and I was thinking in my head. I go, how do I comment on this? I'll say this: it's definitely very cool to see what you've been able to do with what's being asked of you, and also what, as far as you're allowed to go with certain things you're creatively making. So it's neat to see what you're capable of when you're pushed in something that it wasn't normally your bread and butter, I guess. Is that a good way of explaining it?
Yeah,
Okay.
and I think also, what I was also getting at is I'm unwilling to do that all the fucking time now, you know?
Hmm.
I actually want to make more stuff, despite what people think. I want to make more stuff, and the making less stuff it doesn't help me. It doesn't help for
Right.
me to make less stuff. Um, so there just has to be this balance that I have to create something that looks good, but is not backbreaking to do. And every artist is looking for that.
Hmm.
And it's just taken me forever to figure out, better part of 20 years actively working to figure out a process that does that. But I've never considered myself to be one of the best, to be a great artist, or even a competently good artist. Like good enough artist has always been, but I like to impress people. I do. So it's like, how do I can with my limited set of, my very limited set of abilities, what can I do to garner a ooh? And it's not because I'm looking to be told how good I am. It's because like anybody who does anything that they're proud of, you want people to go ooh, right?
Right.
It's not like ooh, I did it. It's ooh, they're getting the same reaction from the kind of thing that when I was starting out, I was like
Right.
inspired by. Like you're just trying to invoke the same feeling you used to get. You're trying to create that for other people.
Yeah.
That's what I sort of get addicted to. In the way
I,
that when people cook, they want to, Master Chef and stuff, right? Like you're cooking, they want to, they're not expecting to create the world's greatest food, but when they put it down in front of the judges, they want to, get the, oh, that's really good. So,
I think with the group of people you're working with that maybe you think are better artists than you on this stuff, this newer stuff, I think one thing that you bring to the table is creativity, as far as coming up with so many different things that most people wouldn't think of. I mean, like a lot of people would do the same kind of like this thing, this thing, this thing. But if you're usually like, hey, remember this, or this would work good with this, kind of like your own twist on it with your creativity. So
well,
it's just like when you're doing,
the one thing I've learned too is like, you ever watch, so they did in Australia, they did a Master Chef professional.
okay,
And that's where it was only professional chefs. They got like 12 of them together, working professional chefs. Okay, and the person running it, they had one chef running it, Marco Pierre White, and he's the guy who trained one of the guys who famously trained Gordon Ramsay when he was younger. Like he's known for making Gordon Ramsay cry, but Marco Pierre White, definitely the proto Gordon Ramsay in the 70s and 80s, and so fantastic chef. Um, the thing I realized on this show with the professionals compared to say the normal Master Chef was they were unable, they had a very difficult time creating original things versus things that were on a menu.
gotcha.
So like they would constantly tell them this is something that's very menu create, and they would have such a difficult time. Um, so so at my level, like I do find that the guys that have been doing this for very long, they're all kind of doing a lot of the same thing,
Uh,
you know, and they're getting a lot of the same thing constantly. Now, there's a good thing to that because they're working on production and everything else, and I'm a little bit of a loose cannon sometimes. Like I go way off or whoa or so
right.
but that's how I am. They can put up with it or not put up with it. There's not much I can do about it, and I'm hoping that the more I stick with it, that I can really balance that out between always making something that's not generally the first idea
Right.
you know, you just immediately go to. And look, the minute they put forth an idea, it's always that question of, well, who's going to do the first seven things that are obvious to this equation?
Yeah.
Like if I said, give me, you know, a techno monster, or am I going to get that? Am I going to get just okay a werewolf with cybernetic parts in there? Then whose techno monster is going to look just like flavor of the month? Is it going to look like a Marvel thing or a Adventure Time
Right.
look or you know what I mean? Like you start to in T-shirts. I used to see this. You see it really quickly. The minute you present an idea, seven artists in the room are doing this exact same. The thing that first pops in your head,
Hmm.
If you really understand your ingredients and cooking, then you can create new things. Would like to meet Joe. And I got fortunate. I got to meet Joe Matt a lot of times when I was a kid growing up in San Diego, going to Comic Con, and then I got to sit next to him for a few hours when I worked at Play. When Darksiders first came out, we promoted the shit out of it. So I spent that Comic Con hanging out with Joe Mad for a few hours and then LaShawn Thomas all weekend. And Jeff Matsuda. And let's just
Oh,
say I
nice.
was, yeah, right? And I know I was the weakest artist out of all those people. But everyone was super nice.
Yep. Joe Mad is a very good artist. If you, I don't know how much Lion you know about him, but I don't know if you ever read his Battle Chaser stuff, which also he eventually turned into a video game, but it was a comic book first.
I
That was
backed the
really
game.
good stuff.
I'm a backer. Sketchcraft is on the credits.
Oh, I guess I'd probably am too then, because I backed it.
Yeah, you're in there too.
I haven't played it in a while. I kind of want to go, like, I bought it and I got, some of the extras that I haven't even uploaded yet from the Kickstarter. And
You should
then,
just stream it.
yeah, I was thinking about starting over
Why don't you
and
just
just
start
streaming
over and stream it, dude? I mean, you've been waiting forever.
it. Yeah. Another one I never even watched was the Cannon Busters from LaShawn.
Back that too.
I
Like
backed
it's
it
no, it's not that
and
you
I
haven't
forget.
watched it. They put up that demo, but it's a full Netflix series now.
All right. So it's like,
Yeah, so I'm just waiting for the full Netflix series.
right.
Have a whole Cannon Busters weekend. It's gonna be amazing.
So I backed it. I'm all for backing other artists and spending money. I mean, my place, if anybody's ever seen it, is wall to wall of prints, original sketches, paintings. I mean,
Hey
I
man, I
got like,
pre-ordered the Danger Girl game back in the day, on PlayStation. I was the only guy too. You're the only one who's asking for this. I'm like, well, then they're losers, and then the game wasn't good.
right?
But I was, yeah.
Give me it. It's funny. Oh, man. Did they make a Danger Girl game, or did that never get finished?
No, I made it.
I don't remember playing that. I must have missed that.
Very limited.
Let me see.
Very
Danger Girl video game. Oh yeah.
It was not good, bro.
It's rated at luckily this guy gives it a 3 out of 10.
That's being very generous.
Oh wow.
Yeah. It should have just played like, like a Tomb Raider back in the day, but
Right.
it just they just didn't have. Yeah, they meant well, but
Oh man. Look at the graphics on this bad boy.
well, it's PlayStation back in the day.
Yeah. I know. Just I can't afford video games anyways. The Arkham series was a great game based off comic book characters. This new Spider-Man was, but not a lot of good video games come from comic book stuff.
you know
Which
why?
you think they would translate over?
You know
Why?
why? Because Marvel. See, Sony owns the rights to Spider-Man for many things, and so they were able to say, "Hey, we're gonna make a first-party game for this, and we're gonna make it best we can on only our platform." Da 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 da. But all the other things Marvel signed off to multiple people, like Activision, EA, those kinds of things, and these mobile companies, and they only want to make the highest possible return. So they only put out these shitty little fucking free-to-play mobile titles. Although the word is that they're reconsidering that, considering that they're like, it's just not that idea of making all these shitty little mobile titles is not fucking worked out for them. I think the Spider-Man game might be the big wake. You know how Spider-Man, in a way, the first Spider-Man movie was a wake-up call for a lot of companies?
Right.
This Spider-Man game might be the exact same thing, the wake-up call. For Disney to be like, stop fucking around with the gaming thing.
All right.
You know? I mean, the word I've heard was that Square was supposed to be working on some Avengers game, but I've yet to see anything from it. Not that it isn't being worked on, just they haven't shown off anything.
Right.
And every time they announce a new E3 or something, they're like, they're going to show off the Avengers game. And nothing. I'm like, I don't know, guys. And typical DC Time Warner, they only make games about Batman and Superman, you know?
Right.
And they've just put Superman in a fighting game now, so.
I'll eventually get to play it. One day. You know.
Hey, I can play right now, but I've been waiting 13, 14 years for a Dragon Quest game. So I'm playing Dragon Quest. People are like, you fucking Dragon Quest. Hey, man, don't tell me what to play.
Right. Let me enjoy what I want to enjoy.
You guys wouldn't like the games I play and the shows I watch, right? Like anything else in my life, when I was a kid, I watched and read shit no one else did. Same fucking thing now. Nothing's changed for me. You know? I was in the army. I remember this sergeant was complaining one day. I was my day off, and I was sitting in my room playing Final Fantasy Tactics, and they were out there doing PT because it was a weekday,
Uh,
and he's like sitting there,
for those that don't know, what is PT?
physical training, so he's sit ups and shit. So he's out there, and they're shooting the shit while they're doing their stuff, right? He's like, yeah, I don't like those games where I take a turn and you take a turn and shit like that, man. I don't like that. I'm like, so I yell out my window. I'm like chess? He's like, who said that? Who said that? I'm like, or like combat up until the Civil War. I don't know. Or the
Right.
Revolutionary War, you know? You better show yourself. I didn't show myself.
No, no, that wouldn't have been.
I didn't think it was going to go well for me. He didn't like me to begin with. Like this shit I'm doing now, this outlining thing, I won't be doing this on the X-Men piece or any pieces moving forward. I'm only doing it now because I drew the war a certain way and I want these all to fucking match.
Right.
Much like the schematics I'm making you do. I want them all to match.
Yes, yes, matching. Yes.
In the military, we call it dress right dress. It means you look to the right, you're dressed the same way as the guy on your right. You all got the same shit. I'm looking forward to that X-Men piece. I wasn't a year ago. I've been dodging that fucking one until I can come up with a more efficient way to draw it. And now I'm like, I think this is going to be pretty efficient. I'm looking forward to this. I have a real positive feeling about this.
Sounds about right.
This is like a halfway measure. Sort of. Sort of, but not really. But I made some good progress on Game Cave today. I figured out how to write. So, how it's normally going to work. This one I'm working on now, I'm calling Volume 0.
Uh-huh.
And it's really all about the history of the game magazine and the people who wrote it and everything else in the store and everything else. And it's broken up into 4 different eras across 30 years. And I was like, how the fuck do I explain this shit? Because it also includes 64, no. It includes 36 times 4 pages of game reviews. And in a normal book, it'll just be like 12 times 4 for game reviews, and the rest is going to be the story. But in this one, I'm like, I have a very limited amount of pages, like 4 pages per era to talk about. I'm like, how do I do this? So I came up with this way of uh, interviewing the characters, basically. Like, it's a guide that is being handed out to their I call the Game Cave Power Club members, people who sign up for their Power Club, which they get really useless benefits. But so it was like, oh, once I figured that out, I was like, oh, now I know how to fucking write this stupid shit. So but yeah, it's enough to give myself the fucking headache. The headache.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. How much longer are you going to be streaming?
3 or 4 more minutes.
Oh, okay. Good.
I'm just trying to keep the weights on this somewhat consistent. Not 100%, but enough. Together.
Don't make them too heavy, and then you can't lift them.
Like Brandon.
It was so dumb. I love it. Go ahead, yeah. Huh? Get it? Because you said weights.
I get it, Brandon. You have to explain the joke. It's not funny.
Because, see, weights are something you lift. Like the gym.
Much like this joke. You're just trying to lift it up there, aren't you?
I'm just gonna keep it going. I gotta push it up high.
Mm-hmm.
Look at my joke,
Good thing
everybody.
you were there to help lift that joke up.
It was one arm though. I only got one arm to do it, so it took a little while.
One-arm
That's why
comedian.
it was slow. It was slow to go up because I only got one hand.
It was the one-arm comedian.
Have you seen? No, you probably haven't watched it. But did you see the trailers for that new Jim Carrey show where he's like a Mr. Rogers type, but you know his world's crashing down on him?
No.
It's called Kidding. I watched the first episode. It was free on YouTube and Showtime's channel or whatever. It's pretty funny. It's pretty good. It's Jim Carrey not being over the crazy top. He's more subtle, but it's pretty good. I like it. It's good to see Jim Carrey like making something where you're like, yeah, okay, I like it.
Well, he produced that show about stand-up comedians, which was really good.
Huh.
It was like about all the stories when he was at the Comedy Store. Like they worked them all into a series.
Was that on Netflix?
I can't remember where it was on. I just
I'll
remember
find
last year when I was driving back, a year ago when I was driving back from Montana. He was on Stern, so I was listening to that a few times.
Nice.
Okay, let me just do this one thing and then I'll be done. Yeah, I'm gonna skip that. I don't think it needs to be there.
Don't do that. Man, everything hurts.
Everything hurts. Is that a Rohrer song?
If it's something like that, it feels that way. It's just, I know pain.
Ain't no pain. Been gathering 40 years. Alright. Merge that down. Filter, sharpen, unsharp mask. And then we're going to leave all those bits in there. All those little bits. All right, folks.
Some good bits.
That whole blade took 2 hours. So the other one should take about the same.
All right.
But it's done. So tomorrow I'll be working on color pencil, and then Friday night we'll get this other blade finished out.
Yay.
I'll be doing larger chunks of power prints when Megavisions is. So I'll be on a Megavisions for a month, and then power prints will be in the back burner, and then power prints will get a big boost for another month, and then vice versa. That's just how it's got to work right now. I'm juggling commissions, freelance, power prints, Megavisions, and GameCube. That's 5 different things right now.
That's it.
And GameCube involves writing, drawing, and graphic design. So I'm just lumping it into one thing, but it's not easy. It's not easy. So it's the way it is. Some things, they never change.
That's just the way it is.
But don't you believe them? All right, Brandon, where can people go on the internet when they want to buy stuff?
You can go to shopsketchcraft.com.
That's amazing.
That is
yeah.
shopsketchcraft.com.
Hey, folks, if you have no money, please just like and leave a comment below. This gives me internet dollars, so you can help support the show just by liking and leaving a comment. Really, really helps. Can't begin to tell you how much of a difference that actually seems to make with YouTube.
It does. It does.
And it means that I can buy a coffee.
Yeah. And
I'll be back on.
Follow me. Follow me on Twitch at Mega Potato Show.
No, don't. Don't follow Brandon.
Follow me. I need it. I need it more than Rob does. I need the validation. Please.
Waste of time, Brandon.
Shopsketchcraft.com.